I'm HamsterBomb.
And I'm Timothy.
And you guys are back for another episode of Pokedex Paradox, where we dig through the Pokedex and find some crazy physics that basically just doesn't make any sense. It's just fun. And oh my gosh, we have a great one. A great one today. Everybody loves, if you just type in this particular number that we're going to get to in a bit, Google just tells you all about this Pokemon, because it's so bad. Everyone loves to make fun of this guy. I had to put him in an early episode. Just love how messed up this is.
I love him to begin with.
Kim, what Pokemon are we talking about today?
We're talking about the lovely Magcargo.
Or Magcargo. I say Magcargo. I know you say Magcargo, so it's Magma Escargot, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I grew up playing the games, and
Magcargo also
I didn't watch the show as much, so the show I would have heard how to say it, even though the show pronounces stuff totally wrong.
Yeah, it does.
I read it and I had the cards, so I always said Magcargo.
It's kind of funny because you always come with the way you said it.
Yeah.
And then with how I grew up saying something, and it's like total headbutting.
As soon as I heard her say Magcargo, I was like, oh!
No, really?
It's Magma Escargot! Yeah.
That's how I learned how to, say it.
Well, clearly, that's why I said Magcargo. You know, because when I'm broken down somewhere and it won't start, I need to jump, I just need some help to get Magcargo. That's how I figured it. Alright, whatever. Anyway, so, Magcargo...
Let's start with the wonderful dex entry that it gets in Sapphire.
Well, first off, the big thing that makes Magcargo so cool... Well, okay, scratch that. So hot and interesting is that... Okay, that was not a pun. Come on, Kim. Come on. It's okay. You calm down. She's making faces at me right now. She's a little mad. Anyway, Magcargo, you would expect, if you're going to pick a Pokemon who has incredible internal temperature. That's basically what we were looking at here. Or can breathe flames of up to whatever. Right, that's kind of what we were digging up to. So this is a temperature one today. Oh boy. Mm-hmm. Hot stuff. And the most ludicrous thing we ever found. Nothing even came close.
Not to the
Magcargo.
numbers, no. But I do have some other ludicrous fire Pokemon that I found in this instance. But I'll just quickly mention them at the end.
Okay, because they can melt stuff that's impressive. But the problem is, Magcargo is so much more extreme that I don't even understand what would happen if it just sat there.
Can't happen. It cannot sit. It floats in space.
No, it wouldn't even...
And then explodes.
Well, okay, a human being, a body in the vacuum would also explode.
Well, it also has no oxygen. He needs oxygen to create...
Right, it would stop burning. Unless there's nuclear fusion happening inside of him, which I might be getting to in a bit. But either way, let's just give us the first Dex entry where we ever get some solid numbers. Because we all love numbers on Pokedex Paradox. Pokemon Sapphire.
Magcargo's body temperature is approximately 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Hold up, phone. What?
It gets better.
Oh god, it gets worse.
Water is vaporized on contact.
Let me hold you there. It would do so much more. It wouldn't even get to contact, by the way.
Ground would vaporize.
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay, if this Pokemon is caught in the raindrops instantly turn into steam, cloaking the area in a thick fog.
Which, to be completely fair, that's true.
That does happen
except
when it's
the
hot.
rain wouldn't even get anywhere near him. It would be falling, and I don't know how close it would actually have to be to just immediately vaporize. Which, by the way, there's a lot of things around him that would immediately vaporize.
What if we just come up with a new theory that the reason why we're having global warming is because Magcargo?
Because, you know, now that you mention it, somewhere around 1998, we started having some global warming problems. we created Gen 2. Magcargo started slithering out of Johto.
Okay, what about this? When we get to Heart
The oceans were heating. The glaciers were melting.
Not
right,
Groudon.
Keep
not
going.
Kyogre.
hit me with some more bad
Okay,
signs
so
here.
what about when we get to Heart Gold?
Yeah.
The shell on its back is just skin that is cooled and hardened. It breaks easily with a slight touch.
Now, here, hold on. This brings me to some... I know that's just ludicrous compared to what we just heard. But, as if someone would actually want to touch it. But the thing is, people and Pokemon clearly in their world are not just vaporizing when they get near him, right? So clearly it's containing all of that insane heat somehow, right?
Right.
Somehow.
And I have clearly been standing in a cave with plenty of Magcargos, and slugmas at one point in time, so...
Really? What caves do you find them in? They're incredibly rare Pokemon.
It was in black and white, I think?
No, it's in, I know what you're talking about now. There's wild slugmas in, it's some fire cave
Yeah,
in,
it's a fire cave, but you have,
in
like,
Hoenn.
a person with
It's in
you.
Hoenn.
You
It's
have
under the
another person.
volcano. A person with you?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't...
no, you find, like, Grumpigs, Spoints and Grumpigs there. No. Yeah, I thought it was black and white. Anyway, off topic.
I don't know what you're talking about
Okay.
then. Okay, but anyway, so incredibly hot, and it could maybe be cool to the touch in the same way that, and I'm going to use this later, if you walked up to the side of, say, a kiln or a foundry, and you touched the outside of it while it's closed. Sure, it's cool to the touch, right? Right? Based on, and I'm going to get into what's actually containing that, it's cool to the touch. So maybe Magcargo, inside of his rocky shell, is able to contain this heat with a thick set of layers of some things. But
its shell has to be made from its body, which is already over 18,000 degrees, is what this Dex entry is saying.
I understand, but his body is clearly made of two different cleared parts, right? He's got the magma slug part, and he's got the rock. I'm assuming the 18,000 degrees is the core of the rock, right? So the rock, now to be fair, can be made of layers of different kinds of materials to contain 18,000 degrees.
But that means that the materials have to exist inside the magma itself to have created that rock. That's what it says in the Dex entry.
Well,
it is
okay, go on.
the shell on its back is just skin that has cooled and hardened over time. So it has to physically be his magma.
So they were trying. It's basically trying to say it's a snail, and they're saying it
Right.
works like a snail.
But it physically can't happen.
No, how about this though? How about this? Say that that's how the rock grows. Okay. How about that's how the rock grows, and the internal temperature can still be the same. Is that fair? Can that still work? The rock, it grows by that. It's trying to how it grows, maybe? I'm trying to make sure that he's still physics. Because if you don't agree with me, then we don't have an episode. Can I have an episode?
I'm just saying,
I tried here.
if the same chemicals aren't existing in your foundry that are existing inside magma, it can't physically happen.
Here's the thing. I'm going to disprove it anyway. So
Okay, just prism.
Even though, okay, yes, by that other Dex entry, it shouldn't work. Let's at least start looking at some other things in nature that have reached very high levels of
this
temperature.
puts his temperature in perspective.
Yes, let's understand what 18,000 degrees actually means. Now, there's a huge gap between things like, I'll get into later, things like a lightning bolt is actually way hotter than you think it is because it's so instantaneous. And it's using all of its energy immediately.
But
right?
it is not 18,000 degrees.
Actually, a lightning bolt is way hotter than that. But the thing is, it's so fast, and it's because it's a reaction, and it's just done immediately.
And it's so fast it can't physically, like, it just can't exist for that long, you know? It's an
yeah, right. So the difference is Magcargo is sustaining that, right? So if you want to be fair, throughout the lifespan of Magcargo versus the air temperature of where the lightning bolt will strike, and you divide that out, Magcargo's hotter. Because he's retaining that heat. So, to be fair to the lightning bolt, whatever. But I've got some others coming up in a bit. I will get to them in a second. Do you have any temperature ones before I get to mine?
No, go ahead. Let's start with your perspective here.
In perspective, let's just talk about magma, right? Boiling magma. The hottest you're ever going to see magma is 2,120 degrees.
That is nowhere near
what not
Magcargo
even
is.
Close. So that's where you were getting it. What's happening? Like, because he's made of magma, right?
Right.
And even if you get too close to magma, it will burn you.
Right.
You can be within 5 feet of it, and you will burn alive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I didn't look up the exact distances, but it will. It's going to be insufferable.
There's a pretty good reaction that happens when it actually hits oxygen outside on the surface.
Oh, it's raising the temperature for sure, but it's also releasing an incredible amount of photons, which you're too close to, and it's just going to light you up.
And then it's going to start adjusting its temperature slowly and readjusting to the surface.
Trust me, no. You don't want to be anywhere near that. So that's not even contained inside of Magcargo. So you don't even want to be near him for the sake of the fact that his body is made of magma, which I already assumed. Which in Pokemon Ami and Pokemon Refresh, you can pet him on the face. You can touch him.
I think I've pet his eyeballs on there before, because that seemed like a good spot to start.
Did it burn you?
No.
He let you pet his eyeballs?
Yes. I remember doing this because
good point, because otherwise the game, to function as the game, you couldn't pet Slugma, and then you could never raise Slug. Like, if Slugma was, to be fair, if Slugma was someone's favorite Pokemon, they would be like, I can't, like, everyone else can take their favorite Okay, I know, you really love Slugma. Like, I can't take Slugma into Pokemon Ami and Pokemon Refresh. I can't play with him, that's not fair. So that's why they did that.
Yes.
Okay, but still, there's other Pokemon where they make you get seriously hurt if you touch them in certain places. And I don't understand how you can touch, like, Regice.
Vanillite hates me.
We'll talk about Pokemon like that later. But anyway, so we clearly need to talk about things that are much, much hotter. Much hotter. What do you think is like the most ludicrous temperature? What is the hottest thing you can think of right now? Boom, the sun, right? The sun. The surface of the sun is, get ready, drum roll, 9,940 degrees Fahrenheit. We're all talking Fahrenheit throughout this, by the way. It's half. He's twice as hot as the surface of the sun. Now, you need to underline surface of the sun.
Right,
okay, because the core of the sun, oh heck no, we're talking something way hotter than that. Because we kind of talked about this in Gardevoir's episode, a little bit of how stars work and how black holes operate. So, in the surface of the sun, you're basically having nuclear fusion that is so incredibly hot that you're actually talking somewhere around like, it's like somewhere between like 23 to 26 million degrees, and it's working out from there and pushing it. So the surface is still, 9,900 degrees is still crazy.
Now that is something clearly we could never even touch. How about we bring things back to the Earth then and see how hot it can get?
Speaking of the Earth, how about the center of the core of the Earth burning? How hot is that? It's actually hotter than the surface of the sun. It is, get ready, is this the number we've been looking for? 10,800 degrees Fahrenheit.
No.
Now that's still crazy hot. But
I'm still trying to get past the being near the lava thing, so.
And what's really great about this is we know that, the closer you get to the center of the Earth, the warmer it gets, because you're getting closer and closer to that core. Now, think about this. The core, the hottest it gets in the center of the Earth, is 10,800 degrees Fahrenheit. And think of how far away that is from where you are going to be digging to get warmer, right? Magcargo is how big? How big is Magcargo?
Let's see how big he is.
Because I can tell you, I would estimate a little smaller than planet Earth.
Just a little bit.
A little smaller.
Just a little bit.
His height and weight. How big and...
Okay, so Magcargo stands.
Okay, his height is...
2 feet, 7 inches.
Okay, so 2.5 feet tall. He's actually a lot smaller than I thought he was.
Really? You thought he was bigger than that?
He's a lot smaller.
No, he's an adorable little slug monster.
I kind of expected him to be a lot bigger, but whatever. How heavy is he?
He is only 121 pounds.
Really? That's... okay. That's a little... Well, no, that's still pretty unbelievable. Okay, so, aside from that ratio being totally screwed up, because he's boiling magma and stone. because he is a fire rock Pokemon, we can assume that his shell is now encased in rock, right?
Right.
Because it's supposed to be magma that cools as to rock, right? That's the whole idea.
But I also love that intense fire can spew out from his rock occasionally. That we actually have in several
air
decks.
quotes intense, and by intense they mean like 18,000 degrees.
Brittle shell occasionally spouts intense flames that circulate through its body.
That's
and that's
fire red?
Fire red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's just wrong. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if it takes that much distance for the Earth to try and insulate itself, which, okay, to be fair, the Earth isn't trying to insulate itself. You know, it's not like there's, like, layers of thick ceramics or things that are tested to make sure that it's encasing that heat. It
doesn't care if the heat comes up here and kills us all.
I mean, do you know what volcanoes are?
Right.
Because it clearly does it anyway, right? It's just a natural thing. So, let's get even hotter than that. Let's go inside the center of a detonated nuclear bomb. Now, to be fair, certain nuclear bombs that we can detonate now because they have so much more power than the earlier ones. I'm going to be looking at an earlier one because, once again, it's like the ratio of the sun that we were looking at before. Like, seriously, it's like a factor of like 23 million degrees versus the other ones because they just, for some reason, wanted to have a Cold War pissing contest of who can make the biggest nuclear bomb, even though the bombs we make would be so big, they would basically throw the Earth out of its natural cycles and destroy everybody. So, but whatever. Humans are stupid. But Pokemon
Humans are stupid.
is even more stupid. So, inside the center of the Hiroshima atomic bomb, we are talking about even hotter than the center of the surface, or the center of the Earth. It is 10,830 degrees. Only 30 degrees more than the center of the Earth. Fahrenheit. Only 30 degrees more. And we're still barely
Where can Magcargo exist?
We're still barely over halfway getting to his internal temperature. Barely over halfway his internal temperature. So, I was thinking, okay, if that really is true, which, I mean, we have to accept the validity of the Pokedex, right? That is our series. And this is truth. We must accept it, right? So I'm like, okay, what are they using in kilns? What are they using in foundries? What are they using to contain insane heat so that people can, boil a glass and blow glass? How are they doing this to, use foundries in order to melt steel and form and mold certain shapes out of liquid iron and all that stuff, right? How are they doing that? So, basically, they are lining them with, obviously, they use different kinds of metals that obviously have higher boiling points than what they're intending on putting inside. So, to be fair, those metals would just melt instantly if you put something 18,000 degrees inside. But they're lining them with ceramic and different levels of ceramics, and these ceramics have different melting points, and because of those layers of insulation, the irons and steels and stuff that goes on the outside of these kilns and foundries will be cooled to the touch because of the insulation. So, inside a max temperature of a kiln that like Potter or maybe even like a glass blower is going to be using, max, you're expecting these things to be getting up between like, and this is general, based on how big they are and what they're doing, you're looking at like 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit. That's so crazy hot. Yeah, like, have you been near one of those things when
Magcargo is sneezing at that.
I know. So how about this? Have you been anywhere near, like, a foundry or glass blowing and you've seen someone, like, open that thing up and it's just glowing?
Oh, it's so hot.
Glowing red. That molten. That is incredibly hot.
It was incredibly hot. You standing 6 or 7 feet away from it. It is
6 or 7 feet away?
Yeah.
The closest I've ever stood to one of those things was about 15 feet. And I was sweating.
Yeah.
It's crazy hot.
It's so hot.
So those temperatures, to give you an idea, is ranging based on where you were, somewhere max between 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit and the hottest forges for melting. The hottest thing that people forge which is carbon steel, as far as I've seen. And to melt that max temperature, you're looking at 2,246 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay?
So we can't do this.
So, hold on. So I'm saying the best that we can get to even contain these kind of things with the best materials that we know of would melt at 18,000 degrees. It melts.
It all melts.
And the worst part, the kicker on top of all of this, I was like, okay, you know what? Because he's made of rocks, I would have said, okay, maybe there's some kind of rock that justifies holding in that kind of intense heat.
He is rock type.
He is.
He's a giant rock.
He's a rock shell. So I was like, okay, the rock shell has to have I'm going to look up some kind of mineral that can contain that heat. Unfortunately, all rocks apparently become molten. Molten at, here we go, 2,192 degrees Fahrenheit.
I just can't help but look at his smug little face on the Kintsugamori drawing and
go like, wow.
He's just laughing at you like he knows.
Guess what? I broke physics.
Yeah.
I broke physics. I'm sure it was just some kid who was like, wow, it's really hot.
And something that I think is like even crazier is that the bubbles on him are constantly erupting because of the chemical reaction with the oxygen.
Which means, that means that stuff bubbling to the surface. So if gases are forming inside of him, that super hot molten gas is bubbling up and poof, coming out into the air. So you can't tell me he's not heating the air up with his 18,000 degrees. What would that do? It's just...
Well, we theorized what it would do. It would go through to the center of the Earth, and then it'd go throughout the other side, and then he would explode.
I never said that.
Well, if he's clearly going to melt the ground.
Maybe. I mean, he might be...
We're going to throw him in the ocean. He's going to vaporize all the water.
He might just detonate like a nuclear explosion. I don't know.
Like him reaching certain chemicals is just going to cause him
that temperature, as far as well, he probably wouldn't do that because, like I said, to be fair, like a lightning bolt is a lot hotter than that, and lightning does strike like a tree, but even that sometimes might not even start a fire, right?
Keeping this constant.
He holds that. Can you imagine, like, a constant stream of lightning? That's him.
Constant stream.
That's insane. It's just, it doesn't make any sense.
So, in the thing I was going to bring up here at the end are just some small fire Pokemon that I didn't think were going to be worth doing another Pokemon Paradox with. But I believe that we have Torchic. The inside of his tummy actually, I believe, reaches like 2,000 degrees or something.
You didn't look this up beforehand?
I forgot about it. I was just thinking Torchic is wonderful, but another little fact even about Chimchar, he farts to keep his tail on fire.
Yeah, well, we all kind of joked about that, looking at it coming out of his butt, but according to his Dex entry, that's actually farts.
Yep, he actually farts to keep the gas going. It says it's gas that burns
straight up
on
a
the
fart
outside of
monkey.
his body.
Wow.
Stuff that's not worth their time and anything else.
So anyway,
but
yeah.
Torchic, I love this Dex entry. Diamond and Pearl entry is so cute.
Okay.
A fire burns inside, so it feels very warm to hug.
Okay.
It launches fireballs at 1,800 degrees.
Now, that's a factor of 10 off, but still, but the thing is, the fireball is being launched at that, which means that its internal temperature is higher.
Yes.
And you can't tell me that it has certain linings of ceramics and rocks
inside of his stomach
that are insulating it, because, like I said, the max kilns you're seeing are 1,700. Torchic shoots fireballs higher than that.
And we're mentioning you don't want to get within 15 feet of these kilns. And it's saying in its deck entry to give it a hug.
Yep, give it a hug.
Feel warm.
Nice warm hug.
Anyway.
Maybe Torchic's made of ceramic. You know, that one, though, I could argue could exist. Magcargo, our wonderful topic for the day. No, I'm sorry, no. I tried to make it logic, and no.
It didn't logic.
It can't.
It didn't physics.
No, it does not physics. That's a different series, Kim.
It doesn't physics.
Do we have any other closing stuff on Magcargo?
No, I just wanted to mention those few other interesting fire dex entries that I found.
There's probably a lot more that mention temperatures, and we may bring up some more. I know we have a super cold Pokemon coming up later. We're going to be dealing with those guys coming up soon. But either way, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to join us next time for some more game science. Be sure to follow us either on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and we will see you all in the next episode of Pokedex Paradox. Booyah!
See ya!